New York State contractor licensing requires licensing for contractors performing work over $500 for civil divisions or $2,000 for criminal divisions. Licensing is local and administered by cities, towns, and villages. Regulations vary significantly by municipality. The process to obtain a license includes contacting the local licensing authority, usually the building department, to obtain an application. The application is completed and submitted with the required documentation. The application and licensing fees must be paid. An exam may be required, but this may vary by municipality. Requirements typically include proof of business registration, insurance, references, experience or training, and financial stability. Licensed contractors can perform a variety of work such as general contracting, electrical work, plumbing, heating, ventilation and air conditioning, roofing, and carpentry. The level of regulation varies widely across municipalities. Some municipalities have rigorous requirements, while others are more lax. The state of New York has no statewide contractor licensing board or regulations. The lack of state-level regulation has been criticized for allowing unqualified contractors to operate. Concerns have also been raised about the varying levels of regulation and the potential for abuse. Before hiring a contractor, check if they are licensed and insured. Contact the local licensing authority to verify the contractor's credentials. It is important to get multiple bids and compare qualifications. Read reviews and check references. For more information on contractor licensing in New York State, you can contact the New York State Department of Labor at 518.457-5499 or the New York State Attorney General's Office at 800.771-7755. Firstly, it is crucial to understand the local nature of contractor licensing in New York State. Secondly, remember that the requirements and processes differ significantly between municipalities. Thirdly, always verify a contractor's credentials with the local licensing authority before hiring them. Fourthly, ensure that the contractor has adequate insurance coverage. Fifthly, obtain multiple bids to compare costs and qualifications effectively. Sixthly, carefully check references and read reviews to assess the contractor's reputation. Seventhly, be aware of the potential risks associated with unlicensed or unqualified contractors. Eighthly, familiarize yourself with the specific regulations in your municipality. Ninthly, consider the scope of work and ensure the contractor is licensed for the relevant type of work. Tenthly, keep records of all communication, contracts, and payments related to the project. 1. Licensing is mandatory for projects exceeding a certain value. 2. The responsibility for licensing falls on local municipalities. 3. Regulations are not standardized across the state. 4. The first step is to contact the local building department. 5. The application process involves documentation and fees. 6. Some municipalities require contractors to pass an exam. 7. Essential requirements include business registration and insurance. 8. Licensed contractors can undertake a wide range of construction work. 9. The level of regulatory oversight differs significantly. 10. The absence of statewide licensing raises concerns about unqualified contractors. The licensing process typically involves several steps. The initial step involves contacting the local licensing authority, often the building department or similar entity in the city, town, or village where the work will be performed. This authority will provide the necessary application forms and information regarding specific requirements. The application will require detailed information about the contractor's business, including its legal structure, contact information, and proof of registration. Supporting documents are also essential. These documents generally include proof of insurance coverage, specifically liability insurance and workers' compensation insurance, if applicable. The insurance policies must meet the minimum coverage requirements set by the local licensing authority. References from past clients or previous employers may also be requested to demonstrate the contractor's competence and reliability. A licensing authority might ask for information on experience and training, such as certifications, apprenticeship records, or professional development courses completed. Furthermore, the contractor's financial stability may be assessed through bank statements, credit reports, or other financial document. After completing the application and gathering all the necessary documentation, the application must be submitted to the local licensing authority along with the required application and licensing fees. These fees vary depending on the municipality and the type of license being sought. In some cases, the contractor may be required to pass an exam to demonstrate their knowledge of relevant building codes, safety regulations, and industry best practices. The content and difficulty of the exam vary by municipality. Once the application is approved and all requirements are met, the local licensing authority will issue a contractor's license. This license allows the contractor to legally operate within that specific municipality. It is important to note that this license is typically only valid within the issuing municipality and does not authorize the contractor to work in other cities, towns, or villages without obtaining the necessary licenses from those jurisdictions. The scope of work that a licensed contractor can perform is determined by the type of license they hold. Some licenses are specific to certain trades, such as electrical work, plumbing, or heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Other licenses may be more general, allowing the contractor to perform a wider range of construction activities. It is essential for contractors to understand the limitations of their license and only perform work that falls within their authorized scope. The level of regulation and oversight varies significantly across municipalities in New York State. Some municipalities have rigorous requirements for contractor licensing, including comprehensive exams, stringent insurance requirements, and regular inspections. Other municipalities have more lenient requirements, with less emphasis on formal qualifications and oversight. The lack of state-level regulation in New York State has led to concerns about the potential for unqualified contractors to operate. Without a statewide licensing board or standardized regulations, it can be difficult to ensure that all contractors meet a minimum level of competence and professionalism. This can create risks for consumers who may be vulnerable to fraud, shoddy workmanship, and safety hazards. To mitigate these risks, it is crucial for consumers to take proactive steps to protect themselves when hiring a contractor. Before hiring a contractor, verify that they are licensed by the local licensing authority where the work will be performed. Contact the licensing authority directly to confirm that the license is valid and in good standing. It is also advisable to check the contractor's insurance coverage to ensure that they have adequate liability and workers' compensation insurance. Ask the contractor for references from past clients and contact those references to inquire about their experience with the contractor. Obtain multiple bids from different contractors to compare costs and qualifications. Carefully review the bids to ensure that they include a detailed scope of work, materials list, and payment schedule. Before signing a contract, carefully read and understand all the terms and conditions. Make sure the contract clearly outlines the responsibilities of both the contractor and the homeowner. Avoid making large upfront payments before work begins. A reasonable down payment is acceptable, but the majority of the payment should be tied to the completion of specific milestones or the entire project. Keep detailed records of all communication, contracts, invoices, and payments related to the project. This documentation can be valuable in the event of a dispute or problem with the contractor. If you have a dispute with a contractor, try to resolve it through negotiation and mediation. If those efforts are unsuccessful, you may need to pursue legal action through the courts or file a complaint with the local licensing authority or consumer protection agency. For additional information on contractor licensing in New York State, you can contact the New York State Department of Labor or the New York State Attorney General's office. These agencies can provide general information and resources to help consumers make informed decisions about hiring contractors. Remember, it is your responsibility to protect yourself by doing your research, verifying credentials, and carefully reviewing contracts before hiring a contractor.